Hello everyone, welcome to the new series of Drishti IS. I am Ritu and today we are going to discuss very important topic which is India lost the World Cup and is it because of the law of average? So before moving to the points of discussion that what is law of average and other stuff related to the cricketing world, first of all we should know that why cricket matters to a lot. So India after consecutive win of 10 matches lost in the finals by Australia by 6 wickets. And cricket in India is not just a game, it's not just sports, it's emotions, it's related to the money also, it's related to the prestige also. And because of that, this news is shattering us and it is affecting us in a very different way. So here for an aspirant, why this news is matters. So first of all, this can be asked in your prelims examination that who has won the match and what was the level of match, who had scored how much. So this thing is very important for your prelims examination. And after that, what are the ethical issues related to the cricketing worlds we have, we will also discuss, and which can be important for your prelims examination and it can ask in your various GS questions. So that's why we have chosen this topic. So moving to the points of discussion part. So first of all, we are here to discuss the news and then we are going to discuss that what is the law of average and then we'll have some discussion around that. So did India lose the finals because of the law of average? And then what explains the deep popular belief about the so-called law of average? And then what is Gamble's fallacy? And then practice question for prelims and means. So moving to the news part. So India lost the match by 6 wickets and we already know this. But so many experts and commentators were commenting that it's because of the law of average. So we will discuss in detail that what is law of average. So many commentators had expected that it is because of the pitch and because of the bad pitch we have lost the match. They are also saying that because of the lots of confidence, overconfidence we have lost. Some are suggesting that the Indian team were underconfident, but many of the gambling experts and many of the cricket match experts were saying that it would be very okay that India would have lost any league matches so that it can won the final matches. So these kind of the probability and assumptions they were making about the India, but here our main point of discussion is the law of average and what are the gambling issues related to the cricket. So we will discuss that what is the law of average. So in theory, law of average does not exist, and when it comes to the stats it does not exist. So what is this law of average? So it is a popular belief which says that if any team or if any kind of anything reaches to the extreme, it cannot go prolonged. It means that if India is winning again and again and it has won already 10 matches, so it's an extreme win for the India, so it cannot handle and there is a time which will come where India will lose. So this kind of the assumptions and probability can be pointed out in the cricket. On the other hand, this law of average can be applied to various economic sectors. So suppose that we have economic sector of China. So in the recent past, we have seen that China was growing by double digit of the GDP growth. But right now the China growth rate is around 4 to 5%. So they said that, because of the extreme growth in the past, they have come to this law of average, and because of this law of average, the China's economic condition is like that. So this cannot be true up to various extent because it is not applicable to even cricket, also even to various gaming and match sector, and it is not up to level for the economic sector as well as any other sector. It is just a popular belief and a large number of popular belief, and that's why this belief is existing a lot. So that's why this is not a much solid theory, but it existed, and that's why so many people are saying that it's because of law of average India has lost the match. So moving to the next slide is about what are the examples we have the law of average. So many experts have said that this thing matters a lot, and they had proved also that how law of average matters. So suppose that they had taken an example of batting cricketer. So consider a batsman who has a career batting average of 40, and in a few matches he is scoring in initial performance like 80, 60, 50, 70. So it's his total run is 260. So in 4 matches he has scored 80, 60, 50 and 70. Coming to the other 4 matches, so he has scored 20, 30, 25, 35 and here total becomes 110 runs. So when we will calculate 260 plus 110, it will become 370 runs, and it will be divided by 8. So what will be the average? So it is near to the 40, which is 46.25%. So in a way that says that, it is near to the 40 because average is 46.25%. So in that way they calculate that this is a law of average, but this cannot be true. Suppose it will take the case of Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli has considered its performance very well in all over the matches. In very few matches he has run out by 0 and he got out on the 1 or 2. So this kind of the law of average could not apply on the some batsmen, but this popular belief existed, and this has a very good impact on the gaming sector, and gaming sector is booming because of this law of average kind of theory. So moving to the next slide is about, so did India lose the finals because of the law of average? So we already had discussed that law of average is just a popular theory, but in theoretical form it does not exist, and they certainly know that India did not lose because of the law of average, because many experts were saying that if India has started very slowly, then it could have won the match. Suppose that Australia had started slowly and it has lost initial 2 matches, and later it became undefeated and it has won the final World Cup. On the other hand, but if this theory existed, this cannot be existed on Pakistan team, because since 1992 we can see that Pakistan is losing from India, and if when it comes to the law of average, then India and Pakistan have won any one of the matches because it has started slowly since 1992. So by 2023 it could have won 1 or 2 matches. Coming to the New Zealand also, because New Zealand is performing very well in various matches and it is reaching to the semi-finals and finals since past 20 years, but it is not able to get the final World Cup trophy. So if the law of average applies to the New Zealand also or South Africa also, then they could have also won the World Cup trophy by once in last 20 years, because law of average applies that if they are constantly performing good, then there must be a point there they can get their trophy, and there must be a point there they can be out from the quarter-final series or in the league stages series. So in that way, this theory is not applicable to the cricketing world and also to the economic world and also to the other sectors. It is just a popular belief which is existing. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about that then why we are much expecting on law of average and why this theory is so much popular. So if any theory is so much popular, and if in any theory so much people are believers, doesn't mean that theory is right. So similarly we have this case of the law of average. So there are large number of people who are the believer of the law of average. It does not mean that law of average applies to the cricketing world, and it does not mean that it is right. So we have taken an example of Winston Churchill. So there was a roulette match, and in that match we can see that Winston Churchill has lost, and if when there was asked that what would you like to change when you have got this opportunity, then Winston Churchill had replied that when I'll have opportunity I would have chosen red, because but again by and time he was given the black color on the rotless table. So in that way it is also a law of average that if 20 times if you are winning the match, then there will be the 21st time you will get the result on your side. So it is just an assumption, but it's not proven fact. So moving to the next slide is about that what is the gambler's fallacy here. So why we have discussed a lot about the law of average and how this is important for our examination, because the gambling and online gambling is rising day by day, and we have a different kind of gamblings in India, and because of the such popular theory which is existing just like law of average, the gambler fallacy increased and so many people started investing in the gambling game. So because of this thing, this gambler fallacy is increasing, and they have this kind of expectation that if India has won this number of times, then there will be the certainly times they will also won this time. And they had also starting so many theory, they had started putting different kind of assumptions and average also. They had also started calculating the strike rates, the bowling coaches and everything. So in that way the gambling tendency is increasing day by day because of this law of average kind of theory existed in our country, in other parts of the world also. So moving to the Next slide. Next slide is about the practice question for prelims. When did Australia won the World Cup for the first time? And your options are 1987, 1999, 2003 and 2007. So you have to answer into the comment section. Moving to the mains part. So our main point of discussion is the online gambling and how gambling is destroying the sports culture of India. So the question is related to critically examine whether gambling in sports should be allowed. So here we can see that there are so many online gambling platforms have been opened in the country, and the government of India come with the various regulation which regulate the online gambling and different kinds of gambling. And coming to the question that should gambling allowed in India, so gambling is never a good thing, and it always had harmed the people. Sometimes for the minute terms, for the temporary benefit, it has benefited the people, but when it comes to the overall scenario or overall conclusion, when we will reach, then we will say that so many youths are destroyed because of the gambling in sports. And sports should be taken as a sport, it should not be involved with the gambling. So because of this online gambling and various kind of gambling happening in the sports, it is destroying the youth culture and destroying the youth of our country, not just the country but the entire world. So what are the disadvantages we have in the gambling? So the first thing is that you lost the social interaction because you are involved in the online gambling. The youths will not have any respect for the money, and sometimes you will spend the money on unnecessary thing. The second thing is that it imparts the bad activities and bad habits among the youths. So these are the negative points we have. Coming to that, should gambling be allowed in the sports or not? So gambling is a state issue. It means that state government should have authority that whether the gambling should be allowed in this state or not. And various state government has banned this gambling in the sports, and various state government has allowed, but with various caution. So gambling has some also benefit that if any person who is differently able and he wants to do online gambling in the sports, then he has the opportunity that he can invest, and it also generates various kinds of revenue for the government of India also, and it also provides as a source of income for the many underprivileged people who cannot have any other source of income. But if you are allowing this kind of the online thing or any kind of gambling in the sports, that should always with the caution, and you should have a age limit for that thing, and how all your laws are modifying, and that should be just related for the fun thing. That should not be a major source of income, and that should not be major, what you can say, criteria for any sports, because sports should be played for the entertainment, played for the glory of any nation. It should not be played for the gambling, and it should not be benefited in a wrong way. So if you are allowing, also that should be regulated, and it should be highly regulated. So in that way you can write your conclusion. So you can say that gambling is never a good idea, and it is destroying our youth culture, and especially the youths are investing their time and money on unnecessary thing. So in that way you should not promote gambling in any way. So I hope you like this lecture. If you have any query to this lecture, kindly ask in the comment section. Thank you.